Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Loan Officer Marketing Podcast. We are graced with Ryan Pope here today. Ryan, how you doing?
Good, Chris. Thanks for having me.
It is absolutely my pleasure, and I wanted to start with a quick congratulations because you've been absolutely crushing it with your CRM, and so congratulations on that.
Well, thank you. Thank you. You guys have made it easy.
That's awesome. So I actually one of the reasons why we reached out, full disclaimer for all of our listeners here. So you've done 494 calls through the system, and it's you making the calls while you're attending the call stars and following the daily success plan. Is that right?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
Okay. And we'll dive into what the daily success plan is a little bit for our listeners. But you've made 494 calls and had 190 conversations, um, which is a crazy contact ratio of people picking up the phone. And so that's a phone number that's not your cell phone. It's not your office line. It's the phone number that's through the CRM. Is that right?
That's correct. Yes, sir.
Like, that's a crazy contact ratio. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So 190 conversations, you've booked 35 appointments, and you've already taken two applications from those 35 appointments. Is that right?
That's correct. It's actually I want to say it's more like 50 appointments that I've booked. I've had 35 kept at this point.
Okay, perfect. So 50 booked, 35 actually showed up. And
Yes,
well, two applications and all that in just the first 3 weeks.
that's right.
Incredible. That's awesome. Okay, so there's going to be a whole bunch of questions here. If I was a listener, I would be like, okay, who are you calling? Are these database calls? Are these qualified agents? What does that look like?
Yeah. So these are all qualified agents.
Okay.
That I got a list from qualifiedAgentList.com,
Yep.
um, and uploaded those to the CRM. And then you guys, and shout out to Alexa on your team, who's phenomenal, has helped me build not only the phone burner for each day, but also the follow up system with emails and that as well. So I do 4 days of 50 calls a week, and
Awesome.
yeah, so Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, leaving Friday to catch all of the appointments, ideally, that can't meet in the afternoons.
That is absolutely incredible. Um, so we've got the qualified agents inside the CRM. You're loading them into the power dialer. You're making the phone call. Then if they don't pick up the call, there's automatically emails and follow up that go out to the people that you don't have a conversation with.
Yeah, and an automatic ringless voicemail. So
Nice.
um, that's been a huge time saver for me, not having to leave. What's the math there? Over 200 voicemails at 30 seconds a piece is a lot of time of not having to leave that voicemail every time.
Absolutely. And so, what do you consider to be a qualified agent? Like, how much volume does that real estate agent have to be doing in order for you to be able to consider them, worthy of reaching out?
Absolutely. That stolen from the mortgage marketing animals, but 8 buyer sides or more in the past 12 months.
That's awesome. And when I say worthy, I mean they're all worthy. We just want to spend, and invest your time in relationships that are actually going to have business on the other end of them, right?
Absolutely. And full transparency, a lot of this activity is because I just moved to a brand new market across the country. So was in coastal Georgia, and
Nice.
moved the family to Colorado. So my wife and 2 daughters, who are the best thing ever, and my wife, we ended up in Colorado, and so it's a fresh start. And so that's kind of where um, the drive is coming from is a brand new market, and to go get it and build it all on my own.
That is exceptional. So you've moved brand new market, nobody knows who you are,
Mhm.
and you're calling out to realtors that you've got that are qualified to get them to meet with you. And out of 190 conversations, you've met with 35 new qualified agents in a brand new market.
That's correct.
That's incredible. So, what do you say when you get them on the phone? What are you talking to them about? How do you get them to agree to book that appointment?
Sure. It's a design conversation. Steve Kyles is a mentor, and I'm in his branch. Full disclosure here, but following the design conversation, I've made it my own, just through the number of reps and truly want to make it authentic, But
Yeah,
really, it's I praise them, I say, hey, look, I pulled your production, and you're absolutely crushing it. So, congratulations on your hard work, and I congratulate them because I don't know how many people in their day to day are telling them great job.
that's right.
So that typically gets a great response. You go, oh my gosh, thank you. Um, and then they're a little warmer, and I say, hey, look, I'm a student of success, and I would love to grab 10, 15 minutes later this week on a quick phone call just to get to know each other a little bit and dive behind your numbers some. And as a student of success, I can't wait to hear what you're doing. Um, and then I wait and see what they say.
That's the beauty of a conversation. It's like I'm just let's see what happens.
Yeah,
So has anybody ever said anything? Because call reluctance is a huge thing. I know that we've got listeners that are like, okay, I'll make my calls next week or whatever. Again, call reluctance is a real thing. I think one thing that holds people back is they're afraid people are going to say nasty things to them on the phone when they call them. So how are you getting the agents to actually show up to the appointments? Is there an appointment reminder sequence that they're going to, or are they just showing up?
Yes, there is a appointment automatically. I book it through the CRM, and tweaking it, to see what's working. But the cool thing is following the metrics, and looking at your numbers. There's an ability to adjust.
Yep.
Um, and so, certain things weren't working, but right now they're getting the initial booking confirmation through email and text. And then they get a 24-hour reminder, and they get a 1 hour reminder. So, that has increased the show up rate, which has been really, really cool. And then something I don't have to think about. I used to, before the CRM, organically by myself text them the day before, hey,
Yep.
looking forward to tomorrow, and then in the morning, which was a big time suck,
Oh yeah.
for me. And so having it automatic now is really, really helpful.
Yeah, and I just did the math. So if you've got 50 appointments booked, 35 of them showed up, you get a 70% show up ratio on cold realtors in a brand new market. That is like absolutely incredible.
Well, thanks. Thanks.
So the conversation that you have with them when you get them on the phone. So they agree to meet with you. Now you have a phone conversation with them where you're actually, hey, you're awesome going through. Can you walk us through kind of like what that call looks like and how you're building the relationship?
Absolutely. And following a plan and a sequence, but
Nice.
it is, hey, once again, I lay out the expectation. Hey, look, I asked you for 10 to 15 minutes. That's all I'm looking for.
Yeah.
And there's no, hard sales pitch coming. This is truly a get to know you kind of conversation because I like working with people I know, like, and trust.
Nice.
Um,
Oh, I love that.
and they always say, yeah, that sounds good. And then I just dive in with the easiest question. How'd you get started in the business? And I start frogging them. So I avoid family in the frog until they bring family up.
Right.
But occupation and recreation are kind of where I go, on that. And goals, I switch to dreams a little bit just because, where do you see yourself in 5 years? What's your goal for this year? Those type of things. And then that typically takes the 10 to 15 minutes of
Right.
talking about them. And
Yep.
then I open it up strategically to say, hey, did you have any quick questions for me? And they typically dive into, well, tell me about your business or tell me about this product. And I say, hey, we're running up on our time. So I want to respect that. Let's set a second meeting where I can
Yep.
show you what I'm known for. Um, and that sets the meeting, but it keeps the first one relational,
Right.
for me. And that's the goal of it, is to get them talking about themselves, honor what I said, and say, I just want 10 to 15 minutes. I want to get to know you. And then moving the second one, moving anything else to the second meeting.
That's amazing. And so out of, you've had 35 of those conversations. What's your feeling on how many like good, solid conversations that you want to pursue as opposed to, how are you feeling the numbers coming through the system on what you feel is good?
Um, for me being in a new market, they're all good. For
Yes,
me.
absolutely.
but true alignment, I would say maybe 10 of them are people that I could say, yeah, we could go, go on a hike together or something along those lines. Probably 10, but the rest of them are still getting my follow up and my calls because we're in a new market and we're trying to get a footing here.
That's amazing. So out of those 10 that you would say, you kind of dream relationships, people that you would like doing business with, they're doing production, you've already received 2 applications from those 10 relationships.
Yes.
That is amazing. And more to come because so for our listeners, what happens? So after you've met with them, you've had that initial conversation, then what happens with your process in the business from that point?
Yeah. So they go on my post coffee list. And so I consider that first meeting my coffee. My goal is to set the second meeting. Um, but if they're busy, realtors are busy, and so if they don't, they get a call every Monday morning,
Yes.
just checking in. I try to bring a little, the first call typically throws them off their game a little. You're like, hey, I was just calling to tell you thank you for meeting with me last week. It
Right.
meant a lot, and I love getting to know you. And it brings that wall down a little bit to ask for the business.
Yep.
Did you work with anybody over the weekend that I could help you get pre-approved to make it a great use of your time? Um, and so they're getting that call. So they're getting a call on Monday, and then I do a Thursday video text. So I'm clearly in the mortgage marketing animals, but I watch LOBC, Loan Officer Breakfast Club, on Thursdays. Owen Lee is typically there giving us a market update.
Yep.
And so my Thursday video quick market update, which I just basically regurgitate what Owen says and quickly. And then I ask for the business again. Hey, it's Thursday. We're heading into the weekend. Are you working with anybody that I could get pre-approved now to make sure it's good use of your time this weekend? In the video text. And so they're getting those two um, follow-ups each week for 12 weeks.
Man, Ryan, that is absolutely phenomenal. And you just keep on it and keep converting. So as you feel your way through these relationships, how long do you feel it takes until that person's really ready to start kind of like opening up and sending business and you really feel like you've cemented the relationship?
It's a fantastic question and one that I wish I had a simple answer, but I think it depends on the person.
Yeah.
Some people are just open to new people and they want to give you a shot.
Yep.
And some are so set in their ways that they're kind enough to give you the meeting. Um, but that's why there's a system, right? That's why you're following up for 12 weeks.
Yep.
Uh, and some of them are going to say, well, I guess Carl says, what, 16% are going to say, yep. And the rest of them, even after they take the meeting, are going to say, yeah, that was a good meeting, but I like my guy. So knowing those numbers gives you power because you're shooting for 16%. You're not shooting for 100%,
Yeah.
which is cool.
Yep, absolutely. And we track enough data through the CRM to know that it takes an average of 8 messages until you really start to get the majority of the deals. So if you're making your Thor's Hammer calls to your list, just to book that first appointment, it's in the 8th week where you really start to be like, okay, all right, Ryan, I can see that you're a professional. I can see that you're going to follow up on my leads. Okay, I'll take the appointment. Like it does take that consistency to it. So for all of our listeners out there, the consistency is key. And congratulations on you just grinding the system every day, Monday through Thursday and making your calls. Um, and I'd like to touch on that for just a second. But before we do, you mentioned something I think is another huge thing that keeps people from success. And it's why bother to call the realtors if they're just going to tell me that they already have another lender? Like, do you hear that objection in pretty much every conversation? What do you say to a realtor who says, "Hey, Ryan, thanks for calling, but I already have a
I mean, almost every conversation.
lender"?
That is the number one rebuttal that they have.
Yeah.
And it's not a lie. They do have a limit. And that's where, for me, the authenticity of, you know what, I appreciate that. I'm not here to break up a happy marriage. I want to get to know you. I want to know what you're doing so well in this crazy market. Um, and and that's the every great lender or sorry, every great agent has a great lender. I'm
Yeah.
not here to mess that up. I'm here to figure out about you. I want to hear your success story.
Yeah.
Um, and sometimes that works, and sometimes they say, "No, I'm really happy," and you say, "Okay, cool." And that's why you have a big list of people to call,
That's right.
because you're on to the next one. But yeah, I mean, I've heard a lot of no's, and, and that's okay because mentally, for me, I try to focus on the yeses.
Yep. Absolutely. And there's more of them than there are of you. I mean, we can get up to 300 qualified agents a month inside the CRM. So there's far more appointments than any one particular loan officer can take. So that's incredible. So going back to the daily success plan, because again, many of our listeners might not fully know what the daily success plan is. Can you walk us through just what the daily success plan is and how you've modified it going into this market?
Absolutely. So it is a proven system through Carl White, Steve Kyles. Those guys have built something through their experience that works, and you make sure you're touching the highest value prospecting. And it's 2 hours a day, 4 days a week.
Yep.
Monday is qualified agent. You know, whether you're reaching out to your Focus 40, who is somebody you closed a deal with in the past quarter, or it's your post coffees, which is after you've met with them and you're asking, trying to get them to your Focus 40, or it's Thor's Hammer, depending on how much time you have. So Thor's Hammer is they don't nobody likes the word cold calls, but it's a reach out to realtors you don't know.
Right. Yep.
Tuesday is your update and just ask day. So any deals you have in process, you are reaching out to borrower, co-borrower, listing agent, buyer's agent, title, and insurance, and giving them an update. But that's really just the Trojan horse uh, to ask for a referral, a warm referral during the process. Wednesday is your database.
Yep.
Reaching out, ideally A's and B's first week, C's and D's, so two letters of the alphabet um, each week, and then that gives you 4 touches a year to your database, and then Thursday is your pre-approved and lookings, and those are folks you have pre-approved who haven't bought yet, and you're asking for the business from them as well. Do you know anybody who's looking to buy, sell, or refinance? But also just getting them motivated to keep moving forward. So that's the daily success plan. I can't wait to be able to implement all parts of that. But as I build my business, I am kind of stuck on Monday.
Yep.
So I just move it to 4 days a week. I make sure that I'm prospecting 2 hours a day, 4 days a week.
That is absolutely incredible. And it is oftentimes, days crawl and years fly, you know. And when you're working that daily success plan, some days it can feel like, oh man, I'm making my calls again, but it stacks up so quick, especially when you get the momentum of you get those first agent relationships, they start referring you business and you start to build your reputation in the local marketplace. And then the word starts to spread. And then you can start the name dropping, and then you can start the other aspects of things that really kind of take it. It's just so exciting to watch you going through the process and watch you taking over the market. It's incredible.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And it is. It's a grind, but nobody said it was going to be easy. They just said it was going to be worth it.
That's right. Yeah, I love that. That's amazing. And one other thing that I like to always interject with the CRM. So for all of our listeners, shameless plug. So Ryan uses the Loan Officer CRM through Steve Kyle's team at Success Mortgage Partners. And if you want the system, it's loanofficercrm.ai, and it comes preloaded with all the campaigns. It has the power dialer, it has the qualified agent list, it has the video marketing tool. Everything's included. Um, so you can go to loanofficercrm.ai to check that out. Now, Ryan, one of the things that I'm excited for you to experience is you're right now using the coffee script. And what Alexa's built for you in that workflow that goes out, it has other offers for those qualified agents. So, the 190 conversations that you've had, the ones that said, hey, I'm not going to book an appointment right now, they're still getting a weekly email on the system. And every month there's a theme, and the theme is an offer. And what I found in running the CRM and running all this stuff is that the longer you stay in front of a qualified agent, the better your likelihood is, because oftentimes it's not until they need a second opinion or they need another lender. And it's that consistency of the follow up and staying in front of them that makes you the opportunity that gets that deal. But it's also, Carl has this great saying: offers minus no's equals money. And so you've got pre-built, the offer to convert their leads, the offer to bring them on your show or the podcast. There's all kinds. Well, we have 7 different offers that are all layered out month by month. And every month you're going to see an agent that hadn't converted on another offer convert on another offer. And it really just kind of stacks up. So I'm super excited to see you go through the process.
Yeah, and the cool thing for me, and no shameless plug, it's a phenomenal CRM. So been really, really excited. But the coolest thing for me is the hands-on approach you and your team take to the CRM and being able to personalize it to your preferences. And I really, really appreciate that. It makes it approachable and easy. But knowing that those things are happening without me having to do anything other than continue to focus on my calls is really, really special.
That is amazing. Well, we are coming up on an interesting market, and I appreciate you being so generous with your time today, Ryan. Any parting thoughts or words for people in the mortgage industry? What's your advice to people out there right now?
No, I mean, stick to the daily success plan. It's a proven system, and if you are looking for a CRM, the Loan Officer CRM is absolutely phenomenal. Chris and his team are phenomenal. So just stick with it, and I think there's a lot of opportunity out there coming our way.
That's amazing. Again, Ryan, thank you so much for being on the show. And to all of our wonderful listeners, thank you for listening.